This is Chapter 10, mini lecture on dynamics of rotational motion. So Chapter 9, we introduce the concepts of angular momentum versus that of tangential speed and linear motion. Now we'll do some practical application of that, and particularly in the two concepts, one of being torque and the other being angular momentum, two ideas that are important to our understanding of rotational motion. Torque is abbreviated by the Greek letter tau, and it has two components involved in it. It's the amount of force that's applied and the amount of distance from the axis. So the lever arm length is what that's referred to as. So torque equals lever arm length times force. And you can see here on a wrench, and you know, those of us who are wrench monkeys who've grown up working on vehicles and cars as either a hobby or out of necessity, know that when you use a wrench, that especially if you're working on an older vehicle or something like that and you have rusted bolts and things where they're not wanting to turn very easily, that you have to resort to the application of some concepts that we're looking at here. So if I have a stubborn bolt that I need to undo, I might push with a certain force, and it's the force that's perpendicular to the axis of rotation. And if I push here and I can't get enough force to turn the bolt, then my first attempt would probably be to move farther out, increase that lever arm length and push harder, or push with the same force as I did here, but by doing that I'm going to have more torque because I have that greater lever arm length. If that still doesn't work, and I've tried spraying the WD-40 on it, I've tried doing whatever else I can to loosen that, then I get the cheater pipe, and that's a pipe that I put on the end of my wrench and extend it out even further and push with the same force, and that will often allow me to break loose the stubborn bolt. And so that's just a practical application of what we're talking about. Some sign convention that this text generally shares, and I think it's good. Counterclockwise is designated as the positive force, just as it was in rotation in last chapter, and clockwise is generally designated as the negative direction. Again, I would encourage you to go to the text and look at a problem similar to this plumbing problem. It's exactly what I was just talking about with a stubborn bolt that won't turn. And I've attempted this. One funny story was I did this once trying to take the axle nut off of a car that I had when I was doing a brake job on it, and I could not get that axle nut off. And so I first tried it with just the socket wrench, then I tried it with a bigger socket wrench that was longer, and then I tried it with my cheater pipe on it, jumping up and down on it, and couldn't get it. And finally realized that it had a cotter pin in it, a pin to lock it from rotating, and I was a little bit frustrated by that stupidity on my part. But anyway, there's a problem like that. I just showed in the class I'm teaching in person the video of that I remember vividly from 1978 of the patriarch of the Wallenda family, the acrobatic family, trying to walk between two skyscrapers in tall apartment buildings in Puerto Rico, 1978, and when he was about halfway through, a wind gust came up, and he was walking that tightrope with the long bar like this, and he'd been doing it for 60 years. But because of the gust of wind, he was unable to maintain his balance and falls to his death. But this is a great application of torque, in that this long bar it takes a lot to rotate it. Between the mass of the bar and the length of it, it provides for a great amount of angular momentum. And so angular momentum is the combination. Let me scroll down here to get to that. Angular momentum is the rotational inertia times the rotational velocity. This is never illustrated better than during the Olympics, whether it be in the diving, where they curl up into a ball, decreasing the rotational inertia, which increases the speed. Same angular momentum. However, when they want to stop the rotation, they extend their body, increasing the rotational inertia, which reduces the amount of angular speed or velocity, and that will cause them then to come to a stop. You see it in swimming, you see it, or diving, you see it in tumbling, and the tumble exercises and the floor exercises for gymnastics. You see it in the Winter Olympics and ice skating, when they go into their spins. All of those demonstrate that the angular momentum is conserved when the rotational inertia and angular velocity are intertwined, and they're directly proportional. As one goes up, the angular momentum, if it stays the same, if the angular momentum is directly proportional to the rotational inertia. So angular momentum stays the same, and the rotational inertia goes up, then the angular speed will come down, and they affect each other in a indirect way. The rotational inertia and the angular velocity. So as one goes up, the other comes down, but they are both directly proportional to the angular momentum. Sorry, I messed that up just a little bit, but hopefully you get the point. Another example problem that you can look at from the text and the video that accompanies it is one of several of these examples here, and so I would encourage you to go look at those as well too. Angular momentum and its conservation and its relationship to torque and rotational inertia.